The world of AI feels like it's changing at, well, hyperspeed, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Every week brings new advancements, new players, and new ways it's sort of weaving itself into our lives, sometimes in ways we totally didn't see coming.
Yeah, definitely. It's hitting creative industries, changing how we communicate, even the devices you use every day, and the business side. Some really unprecedented growth happening there.
Right. It's not just theory anymore. It's tangible. And like you said, moving incredibly fast.
Uh-huh.
And that rapid, tangible change is exactly what we're diving into today.
Hmm.
We've got a stack of recent news, information, basically a collection of articles giving us snapshots. What's happening right now with key AI players and technologies.
And these sources, they really paint a picture of the current dynamics,
Right.
how AI innovators are engaging with established industries, the technical jumps being made, and where the market's finding real value, real traction.
So our mission with this deep dive is to unpack these specific developments, try to understand the forces at play, and pull out the key insights. What does this all mean for where AI is heading next? And maybe more importantly, how might it affect you directly?
Yeah, consider this your shortcut, maybe, to understanding some of the big recent moves in the AI industry.
Okay, let's take the plunge into this source material then. Where should we start?
Well, one place AI is definitely setting things up, maybe not surprisingly, is in the creative industries. Music, specifically.
Ah, yes. We're looking at reports that the major record labels, Universal, Warner, Sony, they're actually in talking about licensing their huge music catalogs to AI music generation startups, companies like Udio and Suno.
That's fascinating, isn't it? Because it feels different from how the music industry sometimes handled disruptive tech in the past.
How so?
Well, historically, there was often a lot of fighting against new tech, right? Think file sharing, some of the streaming battles. These talks suggest maybe a shift towards potential partnership, perhaps.
Exactly. The sources mention the labels pushing for license fees, which, okay, you'd expect that.
Sure.
But they're also reportedly asking for small equity stakes in Udio and Suno.
Yeah.
Now, that part feels new. What does that signal, do you think?
It feels like a move beyond just, transactional licensing. It suggests the labels might see long-term value in actually being part of the AI creation ecosystem, not just getting paid for past songs used in training.
Right.
It's like they're trying to get ahead of the curve this time, maybe learning lessons from previous tech shifts.
Because the core issue here, and the sources mention this, is the training data. Udio and Suno, they need to train their models on millions, probably billions of existing songs to generate new music from just text prompts.
And that training, according to the lawsuits the big music companies filed last year, well, they say that's copyright infringement, plain and simple.
Right, the RIAA, representing the labels, is seeking huge damages, potentially billions.
Yeah.
I think the figure was up to $150,000 per infringed work.
Massive numbers. So these current talks we're hearing about, they're likely a direct attempt to settle those lawsuits outside of court. It's a really high-stakes negotiation happening at the same time as major litigation.
And the pressure must be intense on these startups to strike a deal. If they can't get access to this huge library of licensed music, does that limit their ability to train their models effectively? Or at least legally?
Potentially, yes. It's a race, as one source put it, to see who can make a deal first. It kind of echoes other content licensing debates, like the New York Times suing OpenAI.
Ah, right.
Although it's worth noting, OpenAI has also made licensing deals with others, like News Corp and the Associated Press. It just highlights this fundamental tension, doesn't it? AI companies need enormous data sets, often copyrighted stuff, to build their models. Content owners, naturally, want control and compensation. The music industry seems to be trying to figure out how to value not just the use of their work, but its role as, like, the foundation for creating something entirely new. Trying to build a framework for creative compensation in this new AI world. Okay, so that's AI grappling with creativity and copyright. Let's shift gears. From creativity to communication tools, we're looking at 11 Labs and their recent launch, Conversational AI 2.0.
Yeah, and what's striking there, as the sources point out, is the sheer speed.
Speed.
This 2.0 version came out just 4 months after their initial launch. That's an incredibly rapid iteration cycle in this space.
4 months. Wow. Okay, that really underscores that hyperspeed pace we mentioned at the start. And they're calling 2.0 a significant evolution aimed at building what? More sophisticated, capable, and trustworthy voice agents.
That's the pitch.
What specific improvements are they highlighting that actually achieve that?
Well, a couple of key things stand out in the sources. They've developed custom models specifically for more human-like interactions.
Mm.
The big technical piece seems to be a state-of-the-art turn-taking model.
Turn taking, like not interrupting.
Exactly. You know how traditional voice systems often have those awkward pauses or they cut you off mid-sentence?
Uh-huh. Right. This new model is designed to analyze conversational cues, even little things like or to make the dialogue flow more naturally. It almost anticipates when you're about to finish speaking.
So instead of just waiting for dead silence, it might wait for that hesitation, like a person would.
Precisely.
That sounds like it would drastically improve the user experience,
Hmm.
especially if you're talking to, say, a support agent or an AI assistant.
Absolutely. And they've also integrated automatic language detection. The sources mention seamless multilingual discussions. You wouldn't have to manually switch languages.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could theoretically start talking in English, switch to Spanish, and the AI just keeps up.
Being able to just flow between languages like that, that's pretty impressive. A huge deal for global communication, whether inside a company or talking to customers worldwide.
And beyond just the flow, the sources emphasize enhanced intelligence. This conversational AI 2.0 integrates retrieval augmented generation RA directly into the voice agent.
RAG, remind me what that does again.
It allows the agent to access external knowledge bases, think your company's specific private data with minimal delay and strong privacy controls.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting for practical day-to-day applications.
Right.
Imagine an AI medical assistant instantly pulling up specific patient data or treatment guidelines from a secure database right in the middle of a conversation. Or a customer support agent accessing the very latest product manual without having to look it up somewhere else.
The information is just there, conversationally. And for developers, they've added multimodality. You define an agent once, and it can communicate over voice, text, or both. Less engineering effort.
Makes sense.
Plus, they've added batch calling features,
Yeah.
so organizations can automate outbound communications at scale, personalized alerts, surveys, that kind of thing, sent out to thousands simultaneously.
Okay, so let me get this straight. In just 4 months, they've layered on sophisticated conversational mechanics, integrated real-time knowledge access, and added serious enterprise-grade features like IPA compliance, better security, data residency options.
Yeah.
It really feels like they're making a big push, moving this tech from just an intriguing demo to, like, critical business infrastructure.
I think they absolutely are. That rapid development cycle. It shouts high demand and, frankly, aggressive competition in the conversational AI space.
Speaking of AI making its way into places we use every day, let's look at the reports about Samsung and the AI search startup Perplexity.
Ah, yes, Perplexity. Known for its conversational search engine, right? You ask it a question, it gives you a summary with sources, not just a list of links.
That's the one. And the sources suggest Samsung is close to making a pretty significant investment in Perplexity, participating in a new fundraising round that could value Perplexity at, get this, $14 billion.
$14 billion, wow! For a search startup. That number alone tells you how much the market values this new approach to finding and summarizing information.
It really does. And the potential integration points the sources mention are interesting. Pre-installing the Perplexity app and Assistant on Samsung phones. Maybe even integrating its search into Samsung's default browser.
And possibly even beefing up Samsung's existing Bixby Assistant, too. That would be a significant upgrade to the native AI capabilities on potentially millions and millions of devices.
So the sources suggest this partnership could even be unveiled this year.
Yeah, and this move by Samsung, it's not happening in a vacuum, is it? We've seen similar plays recently. Apple reportedly considered adding Perplexity as a search option in Safari.
I remember that.
And Motorola announced a partnership with Perplexity back in April to power AI features on their phones.
So it really seems like device manufacturers are realizing that native on-device AI, especially around information access and assistance, is becoming a crucial battleground for selling hardware.
Totally. They either need to build world-class AI themselves, which is incredibly hard and expensive, or they need to partner with companies like Perplexity that already have proven cutting-edge tech.
Exactly. These potential integrations mean AI isn't just something you go interact with on a website. It's becoming a core embedded feature right inside the devices you carry around all day.
A fundamental shift.
Okay, so we've seen AI wrestling with creativity, enhancing communication tools, embedding itself in hardware. Let's maybe zoom out slightly and look at the sheer business scale this is all operating at. The sources on Anthropic's growth are, well, they're pretty staggering.
They really are. Reports suggest Anthropic is now hitting about $3 billion in annualized revenue.
$3 billion.
But what's maybe more fascinating here isn't just the number itself, but the pace of growth to get there.
Okay, lay it out for us. How fast are we talking?
So the sources point out that this $3 billion annualized figure, which basically projects their current sales pace over a full year, that's a massive leap from around $1 billion in annualized revenue just last December.
Wait, December. That was just a few months ago.
Exactly. By the end of March, it had crossed $2 billion.
So it essentially doubled its revenue run rate in about 3 months, and then added another billion in the 2 months after that.
Uh-huh.
That is an incredibly steep growth curve.
It really is, and it's being seen as a significant, maybe early validation for the adoption of generative AI, particularly by businesses. You know, while consumer chatbots like ChatGPT got a lot of the initial buzz,
Sure.
many enterprises have been maybe a bit slower to integrate AI really deeply. Anthropic's surge, which the sources attribute largely to selling access to its models as a service to other companies, suggests that business demand is now accelerating rapidly.
And the sources mentioned code generation models being a key driver for them.
Yeah.
AI helping write computer code. That's an area that's seen huge adoption and productivity gains lately.
Definitely a big factor. And this growth rate, it's truly setting Anthropic apart for now. The sources cite one venture capitalist who looked at the IPOs of over 200 public software companies.
Whoa.
And noted he'd never seen a growth rate like this before. He actually drew a comparison to Snowflake, the big data company.
Yeah, high growth.
Snowflake took 6 quarters to go from a $1 billion to a $2 billion run rate, and Anthropic did it in 1 quarter.
Wow, 6 quarters versus 1. That comparison really highlights the just unprecedented speed we're witnessing in this corner of the AI market.
Of course, they also have consumer revenue from their Claude chatbot subscription, so it's not purely enterprise, but still.
Right, but that enterprise engine is clearly firing on all cylinders. And while Anthropic shows this explosive run rate growth driven by enterprise, their competitor, OpenAI, has a much higher total revenue projection, right?
Yeah.
Something like over $12 billion for the end of 2025. Up from $3.7 billion last year.
Different metrics, different focus, perhaps, but both showing significant scale, absolutely. It might suggest OpenAI has stronger consumer traction with ChatGPT, while Anthropic is finding enormous demand selling the underlying models to other businesses.
Both paths leading to huge scale very quickly.
And their valuations certainly reflect this scale and potential. OpenAI valued around, $300 billion? Anthropic, which recently raised $3.5 billion, is valued at $61.4 billion.
$61.4 billion. For a company founded just in 2021 by a team that actually spun out of OpenAI. It just speaks volumes about the sheer amount of investment and, I guess, perceived potential flooding this space right now.
And what's fascinating, kind of tying these threads together, is how these developments reinforce each other, isn't it?
How so?
Well, you've got creative industries grappling with the value of their foundational data in the face of new AI creation tools, like we talked about with music.
Right.
Then you have companies like 11 Labs pushing the boundaries of human-like interaction, making AI ready for really critical business uses. Device makers are embedding this intelligence directly into the hardware you use every day, like with Samsung and Perplexity.
Yeah.
And the core AI businesses providing these models, like Anthropic, are seeing growth rates that are literally off the charts because enterprises are now jumping in and ready to adopt.
It all just underscores the points we started with, really. The pace of innovation, the increasingly diverse ways AI is touching industries and individuals, it's all accelerating.
11 Labs pushing out a major version upgrade in just months, Anthropic's revenue doubling in a single quarter. That kind of velocity requires everyone, creators, businesses, consumers, you, to adapt constantly.
And these aren't just abstract tech stories, are they? They have real implications for you, the listener. The Music Talks could redefine how the creative content you love is made and valued.
11 Labs advancements change how you might interact with businesses through AI agents.
Samsung potentially integrating Perplexity means your phone's capabilities are fundamentally shifting.
And Anthropic's growth signals the sheer economic force and the speed of adoption happening in the AI sector itself. It affects the whole tech landscape.
So what does this all suggest? This may be the question to leave with. Given this rapid pace of development and integration across creative fields, communication tools, personal devices, the AI economy itself, and these ongoing debates about compensation, about data use, like in music licensing, what does this all suggest about the future value, maybe even the accessibility of information and creativity itself in a world that's increasingly powered by AI?
Something to think about.